Hey everybody, we are back with another lesson for the beginning band students, and it's a really good time of year to look out the window at birds. So we have chosen to explore Kookaburra, which is not a native bird to this area, but it's still a nice bird. It's number 83 on page 22 in your books. Say hey to Mr. West, everybody.
Hey everybody, hope you're having a great week.
All right, so we're gonna start with the flute part. So you can see it's moderato, and we have 4/4 time signature. Pretty easy notes, and it's mezzo piano. You look below the bar there. MP means kind of soft. So we're gonna start with some Fs and Gs. Okay, that's the first bar for the flutes. Once again, it's F and G. Simple stuff for you guys. In the second measure, we have some interesting rhythms, these isolated eighth notes followed by their eighth rests. So we just kind of play a short version of each of those. They're still on the beat, though. You'll notice that there's a slur as well at the end of that measure. If you look at the next couple bars, it's really pretty simple still. Easier notes, flutes, Ds and E flats. And then D, B flat, D, B flat. Just have to be really succinct in the placement of your fingers during the slur especially. Okay, the next part, flutes, is where we have a really interesting thing. You can see that you have a couple options here. I would encourage you to jump up the octave. So that high note at the beginning of the measure, that measure 5, where there's a circle 2 is a B flat, just like the low one fingering, but instead of blowing low, you blow faster air. So you just kind of tighten the hole a little bit on your lips, make sure the embouchure is a little tighter, and then we are going to push the air quickly. Okay. The next 4 notes are G, A, B flat, G. Then we move to F, and then D, E flat, F, E flat. And at circle 3, flute, to round it out, we have D, B flat, B flat, B flat, B flat. But we have some short notes like this. And you'll notice I took a breath to get through that last 4 count whole note. All right, let's switch to the clarinets. So you're going to start clarinets. Again, pretty easy. I've already explained the rhythms, but I'll just kind of go through it again. G, 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 A, A. Eighth notes, it's 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. That's the first 2 measures. So again, we have these isolated eighth notes with the rest. Put some space in there and make sure slur on those last 2 notes. Where the circle 1 happens, it's straightforward stuff. All right, clarinets, you have a different scenario at circle 2 where you go lower. So we're going to start with a C. And unlike the flutes, you're going to go down a little bit. So you're going to go down to an A like this. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3 with a thumb on the back and 2 fingers here. From that A, we go up just 1 note to a B with your second finger. Okay, so I'm going to play that whole 8th note cluster there. A, B, C, A. We're going to gently use our tongue to start each of those notes. And then in the next measure, it's even lower. You get to play a low G, which is like C, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. One of the nicest notes on the clarinet. So you have to stay really relaxed and kind of move through that note. And then at the end, clarinets, you have just real easy C, E, C, 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 C. Okay, so I'll play the whole piece a little bit later for the clarinets. Saxophones, you are going to have a pretty easy job here. You've got D, 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 E, 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 D, B, D, B. This is all really simple. If you're kind of listening to the earlier stuff, the rhythms are very straightforward. All those isolated eighth notes are on the beats. Okay, don't forget to slur. Saxes, when you get to the circle 2, You have high G, which is like low G, but you add the thumb button. And then it's really pretty easy. The one consideration for you is to play F sharp. So E, F sharp, G, E, D, and then B, C, D, C, B, G, 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 to the end. All right, off to Mr. West for the brass parts.
Cool. We're going to talk about the trumpet parts first. Trumpets, the notes here in the first line of the music, I think should be pretty straightforward for you all. So it's really more about kind of getting some of the more finite details. We start at mezzo piano. We start on G. I'm just going to play through each measure pretty quickly. Starting on G in the first measure, G's and A's. 1 and 2 for A, right? So it's going to sound like this for the first measure. Cool. In the second measure, we move down through some notes, G's and E's, right? And those are singular eighth notes with eighth rests. We'll talk about more. We'll make sure that everybody catches that toward the end of our video. But that just means that we're going to play those first couple of notes shorter. And the line connecting the second two notes in the second measure is a slur. Again, we'll address that at the end of the video for everybody to hear. It sounds like this. Kind of like the same thing, but opposite styles, right? Moving on to circle 1, E's and F's, kind of the same thing, and then E's and C's at the end. I'll just play through circle 1 to the end of the line, E to F, and then E to C. Cool. The challenging part for the trumpets here at circle 2, and Mr. Suchek, I'm actually looking at a clarinet book, but you can verify for me that trumpets jump up to a high C at circle 2, I believe, trumpets. So you're gonna have to really use a lot of air, push it fast, and keep your lips firm to achieve that high C up here. That's your starting note. And we go A to B with the second finger to C through that cluster of eighth notes. So I'm going to play that cluster of eighth notes. Watch my fingers, trumpets. Cool. And then we get back into our more comfortable range at the second measure of circle 2. That should all be pretty straightforward. And we finish it out at circle 3 with E, C, 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 C. Cool. Moving on to the French horn part. We don't want to neglect Aaron out there. Hopefully you're keeping up with us, Aaron. For you, the sounds are very similar to the trumpet part, but you jump a lot between your high and low range. You start in a very low area of your instrument, Aaron, all the way down here. Oh, sorry. So you're going to be really low down there on that C, Aaron. So just check out your fingering chart if you need to. The second measure is also really low. And then when you get to circle 1, you jump way up higher, up to this note. Okay. Circle 2, you go back to the low range. And then you jump up in the second measure of circle 2 to here. Okay, so just, again, Aaron, double check your fingering chart for some of those lower notes, but it is going to sound very similar to all of the other parts as well. Great, let's move on to the low brass. Trombones and baritones, although I think we have only trombones in beginning band. Let's just go through it real quickly like we were with the other instruments. We're going to start a little bit higher in our range, baritones on a G, or trombones on a F, sorry, and that's going to be in first position for you, and then we go up to a G in fourth position, correct? So and then back to G's and down to D's, which are going to also be fourth position. So lots of firsts and fourths in this first two measures there, trombones. Circle 1 for the trombones, we kind of stay on fourth position D, and we also include an E flat third position. Sounds like this at circle 1. I'll just play to the end of the line. That last measure is D, fourth position, and B flat, first position. Then we get to circle 2 trombones, and we're going to go way, way, way up to a high B flat, which is also going to be first position. Remember, we played low B flat, sounds like this. Circle 2 is going to be an octave higher, sounds way up high. Hopefully I can hit this note, sounds like this. That's where we're starting at circle 2, okay? the cluster of eighth notes for you there, trombones, is going to go G, fourth position, A, which is going to be second position, and then B flat, first position. So it's going to go 4, 2, 1, 4 on the eighth notes. It sounds like this. 4, 2, 1, 4. Okay, then we get back down to a comfortable range: G, D, E flat. Sorry, I keep saying G. F, D, E flat, F, E flat. And then circle 3 to the end is just D's and B flats. So just pay special attention to the notes and positions at circle 2 trombones. We're going to take it back to Mr. Suchek for some percussion parts.
All right, guys, so I have my pad here on my stand. You should obviously play on a pad or a snare drum if you can. If you don't have it at home with you, just play on a book or something easy. So we're going to start at the beginning. We have an accent right away. It's mezzo piano, so it's not too loud, right? So have your sticks in a good position. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and. Now the next measure looks a little tricky because we have isolated eighth notes, but the rhythm is simply just this. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's quite simple. If you feel like it, you guys, percussionists, if you want to add a flam just for fun, go ahead. So you can play the first 2 bars like this. 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and flam, flam, 3, and 4. Just if you want to. Otherwise, play the rhythm as written. If you look at circle 1, it's a little bit different in the second measure of circle 1. I'm going to play it for you. We have 1 and 2 and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and. It's just a little variation on the rhythm in the 4th bar of the piece. Then we have this strain of a bunch of eighth notes with accents. We're going to go like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And if you're feeling courageous, you can change the sticking on those. You might think about doing paradiddles if you want to, whatever is interesting to you. So a paradiddle, just what I suggested, is right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And what that's going to do is going to give you some left-hand accents like this. Okay, and when we're playing accents and non-accented notes, we want to make sure there's a big difference between the accent and the tap, okay? The last 2 bars for snares are 1 and 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. And then you have a rest on the last beat. If you are a mallet player, you kind of just follow along with what we did with the flute part, and you do have some higher B flats that you have seen in the past, and there's basically a variety of low and high notes pretty well in your wheelhouse at this point, mallet players. All right, so we're going to do a play along. I developed a little backing track for you guys. I'll play the clarinet with you as well. So you're going to hear some clicks from the piano like we always do. Mr. Gus has a suggestion first.
Yeah, I just want to point out a couple of details for the greater good of the entire class here that we talked about in some of the instruments, but not others. Some things that maybe catch you off guard. In like the 2nd and 4th and 7th measures, you see those single eighth notes followed by single eighth rests. We talked about those back on Polly Wolly Doodle. It just makes them feel a little bit shorter than a normal quarter note, right? The other thing is the slurs that you see in the 2nd and 4th measure. All you need to do, we've talked about this a lot in the past beginning band, and that is just go from the first note to the second note without using your tongue to articulate, okay?
All right, so I'm going to do my best. I have a page turn here, but I think I can just memorize it, play the whole song on the clarinet. If you want to play along, feel free to join me here. I'm going to do it one more time, and this is so that if you're playing the trumpet part or the flute part or maybe the bell part, you jump up the octave. Let's do that one more time. righty. There you have it, you guys. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week with another lesson. Mr. West, there's a couple more suggestions for you.
Yeah, just a couple of shout outs as we're kind of getting further into the school year here. 8th graders, I hope your year is wrapping up beautifully. Some of you may already even be done. Just gives you more time to play your instruments, right? So check out these lessons still. Quick special individual shout out to one of our beginning band members over at Holy Angels, who sent us a really awesome video of him playing Eli Joseph. We really appreciate that. We'd love to hear from more of you guys as you are exploring more on your instruments. We'll see you guys next week with, I think we got a couple more lessons left. Bye, guys.